Hey guys, this is the linear equations test review. So this is to help you on your test. All right, I'm just going to go through a few of these, or several of these, but not all of them. What is the equation of this line? Okay, first thing you need to do is find the y-intercept if possible. So I see right there, the y-intercept is where the graph will cross the y-axis. So I just highlighted the y-axis, and then you can see that's where the graph crosses. And let me see, I had to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I had to go down 6, so that is negative 6. So the y-intercept, which is represented by lowercase b, equals negative 6. All right, the next thing that we need to find is the slope. So slope, of course, is rise over run. And since we're using a graph, we're going to just use rise over run. We're not going to use the y1 and the y2 and all that stuff, because all we have to do is count. So I'm going to use the y-intercept, and I'm also going to use this second point right here. I'm going to draw a triangle connecting these two, staying on the lines, and then I'm going to count, starting from the leftmost point. 1, 2, 3. So I had to go up 3, so that's positive 3. Then I have to go to the right 1, and so that's positive 1, since I had to go to the right. So that will be a rise of 3 and a run of 1, which just equals 3. All right, so the next thing that I need to do is write my slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to write it twice so that I can erase and replace. And okay, so we already know that b was negative 6, and m was 3. Okay, so of course I can clean this up because of that plus negative business. You can just put minus, so that's going to be y equals 3x minus 6. All right, moving on, that's it. What is the equation of a vertical line that goes through 711? So since this thing says vertical line, automatically I'm like, okay, cool, I can just graph this. This will be an easy equation, or an easy graph to make. All right, also, since this says positive 7 and positive 11, I know that I am in the first quadrant. So I don't need to draw my coordinate plane like that, because I don't need the negative places. I just need the positive place. So that's why I'm only going to use that quadrant. Of course, this is my x-axis, this is my y, and here's my point. Okay, so 7 is going to be my x value, and 11 is my y value. So I'm going to go 7 on the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to go up 11. Actually, that was kind of high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And of course, this is just a sketch, it's not perfect. So now I'm going to draw a vertical line, don't forget, through that point as best I can. Of course, this is just a sketch. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I'm just going to scooch it over a bit. Okay, and now what is the equation? Well, it goes through the x-axis, doesn't it? Right there. Oops, sorry. So that's going to be x equals, and it goes through at 7. Didn't we have to count to the right 7? Boom, that's it. Good, moving on. What is the equation of a line in point slope form that has a slope of 13 over 5 and it goes through this point? So this is our slope, and this is our x1, y1, and it says point slope form. So I'm going to go ahead and start by writing point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And now I'm going to erase and replace. So then I'm going to erase y1, and I'm going to replace it with, what was y1? Negative 11. I'm going to erase m, and I'm going to replace m with 13 over 5. I'm going to erase x1, and I'm going to replace that with negative 1. Okay, so now that we are there, we can clean this up a bit. And I see some double negatives, so let me get rid of those by doing plus plus. So I'm going to rewrite it. Y plus 11 equals 13 over 5 times x plus 1. And we are done. Okay? Why are we done? Well, it told us we only need to do point slope form, right? It didn't tell us to change it to slope intercept form. So if it tells you that, it's going to be an easy problem for you. All right, number 4, what's the equation of line A? So let me look. Line A is this one right here. Okay, and I'm looking at this. It goes through the x-axis. The x-axis is right there. And it goes through the x-axis at this point here, right? So that's going to be 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be x equals 3. Done. Next, we're going to look at line B. So line B is here, and it crosses the y-axis right there at this point. And if I count, that's 1, 2. So that's -2 on the y-axis that it crosses. And so that's, oops, I was about to put a box around it. All right, so that's my equation for line B. Got it? Easy stuff. All right, so I'm going to zoom out for a second to show you something. Number 6 is just like number 1, so I'm not going to do it on this video. You can do it on your own. Actually, that's technically number 5. Sorry, that's a miss. That's a, what do you call it, a typo? All right, sorry. So number 5 is just like number 1. Number 6 is just like number 2. Number 7 is like number 3. And number 8 is like number 4. So I'm not going to do any of those. All right, skipping on down to number 9. You need to do those on your own to get practice. All right, so what is the rate of change of a line that contains these points? So we have x1, y1, x2, y2. Whenever they give you 2 points, that's the first thing you need to do is label them. And the next thing it says rate of change, so that just means slope, right? So the slope, and when you have 2 points, you want to use this formula. And we're just going to erase and replace, aka substitute. Okay. All right, so y2, let's see, y2 was -5, so I'm gonna go with -5 there. y1, y1 was, what was that, 4. So I'm gonna put a 4 there. x2, so that was a 4. x2 is -8, so I'm gonna put a -8 here. And this was supposed to be x1, my bad. x1 is -3. So I'm going to go ahead and put a -3 right there. All right, let's clean this up some. -5 minus 4. In your calculator, you will literally type negative, let me do this in a different color. Do it in a dark gray. So in your calculator, you're going to have -5 minus 4, and then that'll give you -9. And then for the bottom part, you will have that's going to be plus positive, right? So boom, boom, because that's a double negative. So that's going to be -8 plus 3, which is going to give you -5. So that's what you can do in your calculator. Okay, so that's going to be -9 over -5, which equals, well, that's double negative, so that's just going to be 9 over 5. All right, and there's your slope. Let me zoom out a bit. So as you can see, 10 and 12, sorry, we skipped 11. 10 and 12 are pretty much the same thing. So you can do that same process for number 10 and number 12. All right, here we go, number 13. Write in slope-intercept form. All right, so slope-intercept form, don't forget, is y equals mx plus b. So we have to do that for this. First thing I need to do is distribute. So that's gonna be negative, let me zoom in so I can write better. -2/3 x, and then -2/3 times 6. All right, let me show you what you can type on your calculator. So calculator. Okay, so for this one, you can do -2 divided by 3 times -6, and then that should give you 4, positive 4. Okay, so let me go back. So that should again be positive 4, so that's going to be plus 4. And then the rest of this equation is just y minus 10. Okay, next thing that we need to do is add 10, right? Because we got to get rid of that minus 10. So we have to do the opposite. And that's going to 0 out. It's a 0 pair, so we cross it out. Then it leaves y by itself equals -2/3 x plus 14. And now it is in y equals mx plus b form, and we're done. Okay, 14 and 15 are the same basic problem with different numbers, so you can do that same process. Number 16. Using the graph to the right, find the following. The slope of the line. Okay, that's going to be really easy. Let me zoom in real quick. All right, so I'm just going to draw the slope triangle, and then I'm just going to start with the leftmost point, and I'm going to work my way to the right point. So I start here, and I have to go down first. Well, down is negative, so that's -2. Then I have to go to the right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, right is positive, so that's +5. So my rise is -2, and my run is 5. So again, slope equals rise over run. So that's going to equal -2 over 5, and that's my slope. All right, now the slope of a parallel line. Don't forget, parallel lines are equal. They have equal slope. So that's going to still be -2/5. Great. Now this one says perpendicular. Perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slope, which means you need to flip and change. Flip, and since it was negative, now it's positive. Oops. So since the fraction was negative, now it's a positive fraction, and that's all you need to do for that. 17. Using the graph to the right, find the following. The x-intercept. Okay, so the x-intercept is simply where this graph crosses the x-axis. So here's the x-axis. That means that this graph crosses right here at 4. So that is my x-intercept, and the coordinates are 4, 0. So don't just put 4, make sure you put the coordinates. Don't put 0, 4. X first, then y. All right, for the y-intercept, that's where the graph crosses the y-axis, so let me highlight the y-axis. Okay, and it's clear that here is where it crosses at -3. So again, put the coordinates. That's 0, -3. The x is 0, and then it goes down to 3 on the y. So that's why the 0 comes first this time. All right, the slope of the line. All right, I'm going to use those 2 points that I've already made, because why not? And I'm going to draw a slope triangle between them. And so that's going to be, let's see, I start from the left point and I work my way to the right point. 1, 2, 3, 4. So since I went to the right, that's +4. And then I have to go up 1, 2, 3. That's positive because it went up 3. So the rise is 3, the run is 4. So that's going to be 3 over 4. The slope of a perpendicular line, all right. Well, don't forget, perpendicular means negative reciprocal, which means we have to flip and change. So since it was a positive fraction, now it's a negative fraction. All right, the equation of the line, so don't forget, I keep saying don't forget, so hopefully you don't forget. We have y equals mx plus b. You can use any form you want, but I just think this form was going to be easier because we already know what b is, right? B was -3 because that's the y-intercept, so -3. And then m is, or was, 4, no, not 4, excuse me. M was 3/4. 3/4. All right, so you can leave it like that, or you can ditch the plus and then just put -3 instead, like that. Okay, either way it's fine.